your money soul signature. So the unique essence that you have behind money, the energy of money, basically. So it's quite a deep and very exciting topic that we're going to go through now. So we're going to be about 1 hour. And first of all, I just want to explain because Chiara, she came up on my Instagram. And that was how I first saw her. So she came up with this like channeling light language that she was speaking, and to kind of cleanse your energy and cleanse your space, and with a specific intention. And I felt it so strongly, and it was so deep. And I went into her Instagram, and I just saw her whole like energy and what she's working with. And it's all about the soul purpose and your unique gifts, and you know, like what you're born with and past lifetimes and all this stuff. And I was like, what? It is so similar to the work I do. And I've actually never seen someone where we share so much of the similar kind of way of creating the soul work. So it was really beautiful, and I just had to send her a message. And now we are here on this live session. So I'm very, very grateful to have you with me, Chiara. And also, one of the things that Chiara has done that I think is beautiful is that you have, or she have, created this 6-figure business with her psychic abilities. And this is really the very feminine, intuitive way of creating a business and creating also money freedom, which is just coming with this. So what I wonder first is, what is it, when you think about like money and everything you've learned about money after you kind of changed or went into this whole world that you have been coming closer and closer into who you are over the last few years, what is it that you've experienced, that you've learned around money? Like, what is the things that you might have not known before about it?
Yeah, interesting question. Yeah, I feel like I've learned so much about money since I have my own business and since I started working in a very different way. And I think the first thing that I've really learned is that the more you drop into your soul purpose and your soul gifts, the more easily you actually attract money to you, because it's like when you do what you're here to do, yeah, like you're automatically attracting abundance. It's really like suddenly much more starts to flow to you. And yeah, the deeper I go into that, the easier it like actually is to attract money to me, basically. And I think what I've also learned is that yeah, like money, like I think the way we learn it usually is that money is created from this like masculine energy of like doing and taking a lot of action and like constantly pushing and doing all of these things. But what I've actually learned is that the more I'm in my feminine energy and the deeper I can go into that, the easier it actually is to like receive money and let that flow into my life, basically. So I've really, yeah, let go of like the pushing and the like constantly overworking and like being really hard and really in that like masculine focus energy, and balance that out with like actually being in the feminine and like, yeah, making money in that way. And yeah, I think that's kind of, yeah, definitely two of the things that I've learned since I've been doing this work.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that. That is so interesting. It's actually, you know, when we come to the core of what money actually is, it is as much energy
Yeah.
as everything else. And the fact that it's just energy, it's also so interesting because when we start to work to earn money, which is like just a huge energy that is very, very powerful in not always the good ways in the world. It kind of it can control your life in so many ways, which actually make us lose ourselves more, and it gives us actually more separations from who we are. So what I experience that many does when I work with women with their money blocks and all this is that we already start creating our businesses and our life with the wanting and the longing and the needing for something more. And when we create and when we earn money from this space, we tend to actually just create more of the longing and the needing. So we are actually creating from a space of I need something I don't have within myself already. So I need to hunt and search and work hard to get more of what I don't already have within me. And then with that, you actually create, you just double that energy all the time and you create more of the wanting and the longing and the, actually we kind of like losing more and more of our freedom, of our joy, of having time to be present, to be joyful, to be loving. We are losing it more and more just because we are creating from that energetic frequency. So when we look at this, like how do we even start, like as you're saying, like you just like you went into this work and started, you know, going closer and closer to your soul's purpose, which is the truth, you know, the your authentic self. How do you even come here, you know, like how can we surrender more or attract more, like how does this work?
Yeah. You mean to soul purpose or yeah.
Yeah, soul's purpose, but also like, yeah, money in general, like the energy of money, like how can we attract it more from a space that isn't always the masculine doing
Yeah.
space.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think what's really important about that is that like you like as you said, you actually see money as an energy, and then you can actually like look into the relationship that you have with this energy and actually see money as like an energy or a being that you can have a relationship with, basically, or that you have a relationship with. And like really looking into what is the story that you have about money, like what did you learn from your parents, your environment, what is it that you, yeah, that's like going on in your mind like constantly and subconsciously when you think about money. What have you observed when you were younger? Like what did you hear your parents say? What did you hear society say about money? And like really going into that and understanding what it actually is that, yeah, that's like creating your relationship with money, basically, because for most of us it's really, yeah, like impacted by everything that we've learned. And I think it's important to understand what that actually is and what that looks like for you personally, so that you can then start to, yeah, to work with that and like start to clear some of the blocks that you might have around money.
Mm.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So what you're saying actually is that with money, we tend to just have energetic blocks, like blocks, which is belief systems that we have brought with us from our parents,
Yeah.
from our society, like from these things that is actually blocking of us from creating from an easily more abundant, more feminine
Yeah.
space. So how do you, can you, do you have any examples of what this like blocks can be or these beliefs or this,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, absolutely. So, what I think is very often present is that it's hard to make a lot of money, and that if you want to make a lot of money, you have to work really hard and you have to work long hours, and most of the time, you have to do a job that you don't like. Like, that's usually what a lot of people believe, that if you want a lot of money, you have to work really hard and you have to do things that you don't enjoy doing, basically. And
Mm,
so, with this, what happens when you believe that is that you will constantly find yourself in a position where you have to work really, really hard in order to, yeah, try and get a lot of money or try and get money at all. Um,
mm,
or, yeah, for example, there's also the belief that, yeah, that it's hard to be self-employed and that it's hard to make money when you're self-employed. And I think that's
Mm,
definitely something that I had to move through myself, because my dad has always been self-employed, and he literally like didn't have any time to spend apart from working, basically. So
mm,
the subconscious belief that I had was that if I'm self-employed, I will not have time for anything else, because I have to focus on like making money. And
mm,
the only way I can do that is to spend all the time that I have on doing that. And obviously that's not really sustainable,
mm,
basically. Yeah, or I think especially like in the spiritual world, a lot of people also believe that money is evil, and that like
mm,
you shouldn't be wanting money, or you shouldn't be asking for money if you work with your spiritual gifts or your psychic abilities, because it's like a service to the world. And I think a lot of the times people believe that, yeah, you should give that away for free, or you shouldn't be charging a lot if you're doing work like this, basically.
mm,
So there's so many different beliefs that, yeah, that you might have, that people might have around money, because we've all been conditioned
mm.
with, yeah, beliefs like that.
Yes. Ah, thank you for sharing this. And also, I think, but just like, how do we face this? Like, how do we meet this these blocks when we see that, whoa, I actually have this belief, this is existing within me, and I'm creating from this space. So, how do we meet this or transform this or release it? You know?
Yeah, I think there are different ways. I think the first step is really like seeing it in yourself and then accepting it for what it is right now. Because as soon as you like uncover it and accept that this is currently what you believe, that's actually the point from which you can start to, yeah, rewrite that story. And I usually work with money blocks energetically. So we really go and, yeah, clear those blocks from an energy, like we clear the limiting beliefs around the blocks, basically. And
Mm,
yeah, basically replace the energy, or replace the energetic signature that you have in your system with something that is actually much more beneficial for you to believe. So you really need to like ask yourself what it actually is that you want to believe about money, and then kind of replace that, yeah, that belief with something that's much more beneficial for you.
mm.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. Also, I think when we even think about something like money, like even going into our bank account or pay a bill, or we get paid from a client or maybe even our first client, and we barely don't even want to recognize it. We don't want to look into it. We pay our bill with like a feeling of lack, and just by observing it instead of just reacting to those emotions, but observing that it exists within me, then we can already kind of just take a breath and be like giving ourselves what we need, you know, like if it's you're safe, it doesn't have to be like this anymore, you know, like uh, love, and kind of just like transform it in that process as we do that more and more. And then before you pay that bill, you make sure that you kind of sense that now I'm in a more peaceful state with myself. I sense that I have a high vibration towards it. I happily pay this bill. The fact that I can even pay it, you know, like, so we have kind of a higher vibrancy around it. And same if we get our first client and we get this paycheck in, it's like very easy to just like avoid it, like try to not even see it, or think that now I need to deliver and do something outside of myself for her to be happy. And then actually your whole worth is just showing up in your energy. And when we can start embracing and like kind of just receive, notice the money coming on in and receive it deeper and deeper, then we can also kind of take up the vibration around money as well.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I love that. And this is actually also something that I started doing like on this journey, that whenever I spend money, because in the past I used to see it just as like money is going away from me, like I'm giving money
Mm,
away, basically. And obviously that doesn't feel good, because it feels like something is being taken from you, or you're giving something away that doesn't come back.
Mm,
And what I do now is actually see like whatever I spend my money on as like an investment, like an energetic investment. For example, if I don't know, invest in like a mentor or a course, I really feel into this energy of I'm putting a lot of energy towards, I don't know, like learning channeling or healing whatever I want
mm,
to heal. And like really seeing money not as like this like money, but rather as like an energy that you're giving towards a certain purpose, basically. And
mm,
yeah, like as soon as you send this energy into a certain direction, like inevitably this will start to expand, open, clear,
mm,
whatever, like even before you actually start doing the course or work with a mentor or I don't know, whatever you're investing in. But it's really like just shifting your the way you think about money and like how you see what it does for you, basically, because in essence it's just like an energy that you're sending towards something. And yeah, if you can
mm,
really see it like that and feel into this energy of I'm giving it into a direction that I want to expand in, it feels so much better. And it like then you're actually also feeling that gratitude for being able to spend this money and to send it in that direction.
mm.
So yeah, I
Makes so
think
much sense.
yeah, that does a lot for yeah, for you. Yeah.
Yes. And also actually what you're saying here, because what we, so same as you, basically, whatever I pay, use my money to, for me, it's I invest my money, I invest my energy here. So whatever, it's so interesting, but whatever we are paying, it's actually it always doubles that energy. It's like it's with anything else. When we are like I hate myself, we get more of, you know, whether other people that also have a low confidence in this, like we attract the same from the same existence that is within us. So the same goes with money. And when we invest in something or pay money, we are actually doubling that energy all the time. So what I've been very aware of and that had changed a lot with me is actually everything in life, like even anything from food to clothes to my work to whatever it is, to actually be more conscious when I pay something. It has a higher frequency. So for instance, instead of, you know, going to the normal food shop, I spend more energy in because it takes more time to go to the organic market and buy straight from the farmer. But here it is in deeper core with my values, with my with how I want to live, you know, like my soul's purpose, basically, which is alignment with those core values. So the frequency, the energy here is a match with what I constantly want to create more of in my own life. So when I go to the farmer's market and I pay for all this food and I pay directly to the farmer, you know, you don't have the plastic that goes in the world. There's not the mass production. There's not the kind of ego part in this. And you are also investing in your health and things are more healthy for you. It's more nutrients. You know, like you upgrade in many ways, just investing in that. And so by doing that, more of that come into my space. And that can be people sharing the same values as me. There can be, you know, my business, there can be my health is getting better, you know, so whatever it is. And the same goes even with clothes, you know, like you can go to a mass produced store just because you are reacting to your circumstances, because you feel bad about yourself or because you feel like you have lack of money, but actually you create more of the lack rather than, okay, I'm consciously going to go here to buy something that actually is in alignment with my truth and with my authentic self. And when you put it on, it's kind of in alignment with you and you treat it with deeper respect. And, you know, you notice you have less stuff around you and, those things you have has a higher frequency. It means more to you. So it's actually a much more deeper investment in that than it would in something that you just do from reacting instead of consciously creating it. So it's just it's really really interesting how this all works and how this all just double in whatever we invest our energy, time, money basically in. So what I wonder here is like because when you started your own business in this and work with clients, I guess there must have been probably some money work here towards
Yeah.
like your value and like to receive money. Like, how do we actually go through this? Like, how can we upgrade and feel more worthy of actually taking money when we are doing our soul work and our purpose?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Yeah, because in the beginning, I mean, I started with like, yeah, taking like almost nothing for doing Akashic record readings, for example. And I think the first time I thought about raising that price, I really thought, okay, nobody's gonna buy that, nobody's gonna invest in that. And like looking back now, it really wasn't a high amount at all. But in my mind, it was like, it's so much money, like no one's gonna pay for that. And then I actually started like writing down all of the reasons or all of the transformations that someone can get from a reading with me, for example, and like really having it on paper to see for myself like how valuable that actually is, and that it's not just like a, I don't know, like 30 euro investment, but that it's actually worth so much more because like when you see your work as in like, yeah, the transformations that can happen in people's lives, it completely changes this feeling of yeah, like what is it actually worth it, basically. And then slowly starting to like train myself, train my mind to see that it's actually worth so much energy, basically, and that like how much energy I'm actually putting into that, and like really seeing, yeah, like how much is behind that. And I think also, yeah, it definitely has to do with like also understanding your or working with your self-worth, because a lot of times it's also connected to like believing that we're not worthy and believing we're not worthy of like people paying us or people giving us money. So I think it's a lot of like, yeah, belief work, self-worth work, self-love work to like really understand that you're worthy of receiving this kind of energy exchange, basically. Yeah, and then also I think I started realizing that whenever I give money to someone to work with me on something, that I'm actually, yeah, sending energy into the right direction. So I started seeing that I'm actually giving people the opportunity to send energy into the direction that they want to go in. And essentially, yeah, the more energy you send there, the more energy you invest there, the more actually flows into that direction. So it's kind of like, yeah, seeing that you give people the opportunity to choose themselves and to like really highly value themselves and their transformation, basically. Um, yeah, yeah,
It makes so much sense. And also, I think what you're saying here as well, it's really like, it's so interesting because when we start creating our soul work and we start getting in touch with our gifts and our intuition, and we want to do this work, whether that is, it can be whatever, it can be things just like, it can be lifestyle as well, you know, like a health coach, you know, business coach, it can be other things as well. But what happens is that when you are putting up a price because you don't feel your own worthiness of this, so that might be high, it might be very low, but just the energy you put into this product is basically saying, I'm looking for someone to, I'm looking for you to confirm to me that this isn't good enough, you know, that this isn't as good as I deep down believe it isn't. So you are creating more of that separation, actually. So even like instead of attracting more clients, you will actually push them more away, because then unconsciously they sense that energy.
yeah,
And if you get clients from this space where you still don't believe that you are worthy of this money or worthy of this like product that they're going to buy from you, and you have some doubts here, if you still get some clients from this, usually this tends to be people that isn't invested in you, like highly invested in this journey. They don't put the energy into it, so they actually don't even they don't get the changes. They're not invested in doing the job, and it's just a direct reflection of your own energy. And that's why it's so interesting to work with clients, because they will always tell you what is going on
Yeah.
within us and inside of us.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think, yeah, like you're so right with that, because it's really like when you don't believe that you're worthy of like whatever amount, you're going to attract the people that also don't believe that like you're worthy of that. So it's really like, yeah, you always attract what you believe about yourself and what you believe about the value of your program, transformation sessions, whatever. So yeah, it's really like realizing that like people will feel it like consciously or unconsciously, but you're going to know, like you get so much information about what you believe about yourself and about money when you start to work with clients, because they will directly reflect it to you. Yeah, so it's really important to look at that for sure. Yeah.
Yes. When you think about like um, your money soul signature, or the essence, the soul essence behind money, what do you like, as each and every person out here, what comes to your mind with this?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think for me personally, yeah, like as we said, money is really just this energy basically that
Mm,
yeah, that we work with. And for me, like I'm like asking for money in order to help people or support them in aligning with their soul purpose. So it's basically like this,
mm,
I'm receiving money to support others to step into their gifts, step into their purpose, and yeah, create that abundance for themselves, and so then again support others to create abundance for themselves. So it's really like,
mm,
yeah, like multiplying abundance basically, and supporting others to like share their light with the world. And
mm.
it's really, yeah.
I love that you're sharing that. It's so interesting, this with the soul purpose and the soul energy behind money, because um, when we actually, what I think about when it comes to this is quite similar to what you're saying here. It's basically um, the interesting part is that our soul, so our soul always hold our truth about who we are and our authentic self, and this is where we can actually come and start remembering who we are without, you know, the blocks and the limiting beliefs and the patterns that we have brought with us in this lifetime and in past lifetimes. And when it comes to money, this is also a part of it. So this is also the energy of it. So your soul actually holds this kind of frequency and visions and messages about where where am I receiving money freedom in kind of my most strength, unique space in me, like in my unique energy. So I think when it comes to money and your soul essence around this, it has a lot to do with actually um, getting very touch with, why am I actually earning money? Like what is the reasons right now that I'm earning money? And this can be a lot of shadows. It can be a lot of your separation, your kind of like your ego that you are creating money from right now. And this is what is not alignment with your truth. So, and then you can look at, okay, what is my most kind of like true way of earning money? Like, and the true way is like when we can actually just show up in our energy, in our presence, and that is enough to attract and to create that space. But also, I think with our soul essence, our truth is also a lot to do with actually our core values. Like when we are living in our in the truth of who we are also living in alignment with our values of like how instead of kind of following the world and how most people are creating from, we are actually surrounding and creating from a space of kind of the new earth, you know, when we actually think about things like we are just in pure service. It's not about having this to get acknowledgement or more respect or to be seen or to be heard or to have more of this or that. It's actually like a pure service where we kind of just show up, and with that it doubles and doubles and doubles in our money and clients and the work we do. So I think what I wonder is like the truth of who we are, our authentic self around money, and how we are supposed to earn money. Because that is also very creative. It's not necessarily from the systems and following a marketing plan and doing this business school and following something outside of ourselves. It's something that we can access within us. So how do we get more in touch with what is actually our truth around money and how to earn it and how to receive it, and you know, these things.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's really about like understanding what it is that your soul is here to do, to create, to experience. And for, yeah, for everyone actually, that lies in like what lights you up the most, what excites you the most, what is like the thing that you want to see more of in the world, what kind of transformations do you want to see in the world. And so I think the work here is really to, yeah, to understand like what is it that I like my soul came here to share in this lifetime. Like why did I come here? What kind of people am I here to serve? And what kind of, yeah, medicine am I here to share? What kind of journey am I here to guide others on? And
Mm,
I think it's really about this like, yeah, like listening to your inner guidance and not to like whatever is going on outside of you, but like really listening to, okay, what is it that like my soul is yearning to bring into the world? What am I here to
mm,
create? And starting to listen to like not just what you should be doing and like all of the different steps you should take, what society tells you you should
mm,
do, but really
mm,
listening to like what do I actually want to do? Like what is it that I want to, yeah, to do here, to do with my life, to share with other people. And I think, yeah, it can be difficult because for most of us it's really clouded by the things we have learned, what our family expects, what society expects. So it can be
mm.
difficult in the beginning to actually hear that inner voice that's telling you, go into that
And
direction.
how
But the more
do we
you,
hear it?
yeah. So,
Mm,
I mean, there's many different ways. I think the first step is really actually creating the space for yourself where you're disconnected from like outside voices. And that can be something like meditation or, yeah, just taking time to really just be with yourself, go outside into nature, be, yeah, just not surrounded by whatever you're constantly seeing on social media, what everyone's telling you, but really, yeah, taking the space to truly listen to yourself and having the courage to question whether you're doing something because someone said you should do it
mm,
or you're doing it because it's actually something that is coming from the inside. And also, yeah, I mean, for me, it was a lot like doing energy work and like really asking for support in like having people guide me to release the blocks that were actually holding me back from hearing that inner voice.
mm,
But yeah, like really asking yourself if you're doing it because you think you
mm,
should, or if you're doing it
mm.
because something inside of you is really wanting to do it or to create it, or yeah, yeah.
I love that. That is actually it's very what I usually say. It's like we de-learn from everything we learned in our
Yeah.
lifetime. So we it's actually about questioning everything you've learned in your lifetime. And when you start putting questions into all of that, you are kind of left with the unknown. And then that's when our soul can actually, when the truth of who we are, we can start remember who we are. And a part of that is also how do I actually how can I live off from this? You know, like how can I do my soul work? So part of this is actually, okay, but where now that I have a touch with my soul's purpose, whether that is helping people, the nature or animals, the next step is really always like, okay, but how do I align my life with this? Like, I mean, money is a big part of like surviving today and to have food and all this stuff because we live in so much separation. And kind of where do we move from this? Like, how do we know how we can most easily attract when we create our product?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's really about learning to, yeah, like to use your authentic voice to share what you're here to, yeah, share with the world, basically, and to really tap into the way that's most natural for you to share about what you're here to offer, basically. Because I mean, there are so many different like things and courses that kind of teach you like this is the way you should market your
Mm,
course, your thing, whatever. But what I really found is that not just for myself, but also for so many of my clients, is that like the more you just go into what comes naturally through you and like what's the way that's most natural for you to share, this is actually like, yeah, what puts out or what puts out the right energy to call in the right people who will actually then give you money to yeah, to do whatever you came to share. And
mm,
so I think it's really about like finding your authentic voice that that you can use to talk about what you're doing, and not like looking to, okay, like this person is sharing their voice in this way, or they're
mm,
using Instagram or they're using YouTube or whatever, but like really asking yourself, okay, what feels natural and most aligned for me, and how do I do that? And yeah, because I think it's important to really see what feels best for you, because for some people it's actually like they're so much better at connecting in like the physical world and like going out and talking to people and like
mm.
getting references and all of that. And some people are just really good at sharing their work online and on Instagram, and other people have a podcast. So it's really like finding that voice that feels good and natural to you, I think, because that is then what, yeah, what will attract the right people that you're here to attract. Um,
That's actually what you're saying here is really important, because finding your authentic voice, that is again about de-learning, like questioning what you have learned before. You know, like we get told how to earn money, how to create a business, or how to have something sustainable and all that stuff. And um, one of my biggest breakthroughs around the energy of money was, and my products and my clients and all of that, was actually when I started questioning all the business courses and the marketing plans and the courses that I've done, and actually go within and be like, okay, what is my most authentic way of sharing something? Because when you can come to the core of like, okay, if I'm just in 100% pure service, I'm just in service to the world, it's it like, you know, when everything is accomplished, there's nothing more that I need to achieve. It's like I'm just in pure service. Where would I create from? And and then this authentic voice comes in, because here we can see that it comes in like very creative ways of serving people, and serving people. That is basically creating followers, creating clients, creating people into your product. That's really like a core of it. And sometimes we even start off with the foundation of, you know, like the reason we are following a system is because we believe that what I have to offer is not good enough if I just meet up and show up in my authentic self and in my energy. So we are already creating that separation from the day we create our product.
yeah,
So actually, to go back to the basic of even your product, where have I created my product from? Like, something I realized was that before I created my products from the way I thought we needed to do it. So I created ebooks, and I had like already video created in my products and in my online courses. And then I noticed that I was constantly growing and I was never aligned with my course. And it was like, am I just going to delete this now and create again and again? And this happened like every 3 months. And when I was selling, it didn't feel right because it wasn't aligned with my truth anymore, because I am in a constant evolution all the time. So when I was kind of questioning like, okay, but can I actually create from another space that is just me without what I get told what to do? Then I came into the core of like how I'm supposed to create. And now I have my products that is where I am able to be in a constant evolution and growth all the time. So my product is growing together with me. And it's not, I don't even have ebooks, I just show up in videos and speak. And and from this space, then it gets easy. All of a sudden, the selling part gets easy to get people in, because it's so like just in pure service of helping, because I know how much this changes and means to people, because it's so aligned with who I am and it constantly grow with me. So it's like actually question how you're doing things now, and really, like as you say, find your authentic voice, like really listen inwards, and then you will get very creative ideas on how to do it.
Yeah,
And sometimes we even think like we need to speak, and then maybe your signature is not even speaking, it's just about writing, and all you're going to do is write.
yeah.
And then because you're so authentic in it, that's the highest vibration that exists. So there's really just magnetizing people in when
Yeah,
we are in so much truth with ourselves. Yeah.
yeah. And so what I also found is that oftentimes it's actually the easiest way for you that will like allow you to do that. Because for me, for example, I thought, or also what I learned is that, yeah, when you show up on Instagram, for example, you have to like give value and like talk
Oh
about
yeah.
things, explain things, and do this and do that. And I did that for a long time and like try to make these reels with like explaining things and doing this and doing that. And it felt all right, but it also felt kind of, yeah, exhausting in a way, or not like fully aligned with what I would just naturally do. And then at some point, and then also like hearing like, yeah, and it should be just like 10 seconds because people don't have time to like, la la la, all of that. And then like I just at some point I was like, okay, this doesn't feel natural. Like what would feel the most natural way for me to share something? What do I want to share? And then I started sharing light language reels, and they're like, usually they're over a minute long. So everyone would tell you, yeah, no one will listen that long. But it's actually like the very thing that felt most easy for me, most natural for me, most aligned with my truth, that got me like thousands of new people coming into my field. Like it's so easy to like, yeah, bring the program to people because they already have felt like this essence that I'm sharing when I share light language. So it's like the thing that I didn't do for such a long time because I thought, yeah, it's like it's too easy and like you should be doing this and you should be doing that, is actually the very thing that is in most alignment with my soul, and therefore brings in people, clients, and actually people who are like 100% aligned with me. So yeah, I think it's
Mm.
like you're very right in saying like find the thing that feels most natural and like most easy aligned to share, and the way that you want to share, because
Mm.
yeah, otherwise you're just making it harder for yourself, and
Mm.
definitely harder to like find the people that you're actually wanting to bring into your world. Yeah.
Amazing. I love, thank you for sharing this. It's so it's interesting to hear you speaking about this and giving this example. And I think it's when we think about it, like what is actually the highest frequency that exists, the highest vibrational energy that exists, and that is our authentic self. And our authentic self is not always like pure light and perfect. It's like we as humans, which is going through darkness and light all the time, and the shadow and the up and the down, like it's the truth, authentic, the truth of who we are. So when we can start vibrate in our authentic self, and we create and express our product and the service from that space, it shifts everything, because where we are not creating from, when we are not creating from our authentic self, is a space where we are actually searching to feed our ego, feed our shadows in like, I need to share this, or I need to create this, or I need to earn this money to know that I am worthy, to feel that I'm good enough to get respect, or to, you know, like all these things, or to feel safety because I don't actually trust my inner, you know, my authentic self. So when we are from our authenticity, it is in pure service as well, because then when we are authentic, it's not anymore about actually earning money. It's not about actually getting these people in, or getting something out there that we like trying to reach and get, you know, like, please come and like work with me, because then you can feel my ego of that I'm better, or whatever. So when we are, I think a really, really core important um, way to be able to create and express from our authentic self is to detach from all of it, detach from wanting something, wanting clients, wanting money, wanting followers, wanting this and that. So when we think about this, like, detach from all of it, so that it's actually no attachment anymore. It's just like, it's pure service. I'm just here to help on the gifts that I have been accessing myself, on the journey I've had on my own. And how do we detach? Like, have you been through this before? Like, kind of like, how can we detach more from what we
Yeah,
do, so we're not like addicted into getting it?
yeah. Yeah, I think that's a really important question. And I did go through that for sure. Because I mean, with everything that's out there and like everything you're taught, it's like you can like easily slip into this, okay, I need to get this amount of followers or this amount of clients or this amount of money. And I think what I did at some point, because it feels exhausting and it doesn't feel like 100% like you're doing the right thing. And when I noticed that, like I asked myself, okay, what was the very first reason I started sharing this work? Because in the very beginning, it was really purely because I was so excited and fascinated by just channeling for people, basically. And it was, for me, it was like the best thing in the world, like the thing I loved doing the most, simply because I would do it, basically. And yeah, like in the beginning, I didn't say like, oh, I need this amount of money or this or this or this, because I was really just sharing like from my authentic expression and just wanting to share that. And I think at some point on this journey that I've been on for like a few years now, I really asked myself, okay, what was my first why? Like, why am I actually doing this? And then coming back to that and like working on like really coming back to this feeling of I just want to share the truth, basically. I just want to share what feels right for me. And as soon as you drop back into that, it doesn't actually like you won't actually care anymore about like how many people are following you or how many people are like buying this, because you're so connected to like the actual reason you're doing this, basically. And then like ironically, this is then the point where a lot more people are coming and a lot more, but it's like, yeah, because you're then actually like showing up from the place of I just want to share what I'm here to share, basically. And people feel that, like people feel if you're doing it because you want like 20 people in your program, or
Mm,
you're actually saying this is the thing that helped me. This is what I want to share with the world. And if you're aligned with it, you can join. And if you're not, then it's fine. But yeah,
mm,
really like the reason, like the why. I think for me, it was really reconnecting with the why of why am I doing this work. And as soon as I did that, it was so, yeah, easy for me to just be in this energy of I just want to share it with whoever wants to no wants to receive it, basically. And
Mm,
this automatically
yes.
then detaches you from like wanting money, followers, like all of that, because you're so in this energy of, I just really want to share that, like whatever outcome. But
I
yeah, and I think,
love that. It's really like a total surrender,
yeah,
and trust into knowing what's here already. And um, what I always say, I mean, I think we come to the core all the time. It's not about doing to get somewhere, like doing something to get more money or get more of this and that. It's about how can I become it now? It's not something in the future. That when we hold something that is for the future, it means that we are not allowing ourselves and to give space to something that we are not allowing ourselves to fulfill right now in this moment. And we don't need, that doesn't require any money, nothing. It's actually when we question what is the reason I need all of this in the future, then, and we mirror it back to what's going on inside of us, then it's always something in here that we're not fulfilling. For instance, time. Like, okay, then I will have time to be with my children. Then I will have more time to be in nature. Then I will more, okay, how can I create it now? How can I become it now and today? So it's about embodying, like become it, instead of having something for the future. And that's always a really good leading sign on what you can already start embracing right here and now, and becoming into like creating and expressing from our authentic self. Also, it requires so much courage, because in the beginning it's going to be a lot of fear, it's going to be a lot of blocks. And the reason why you need courage to do something, the only reason there's courage here that needs to be is because there is fears here, because you wouldn't need any courage if there's no fears or blocks connected to it.
yeah.
But as soon as you step into that courage, the fears and the blocks will arise in this process, which is the fears and blocks of actually expressing your authentic space. Is actually about creating from your authentic space, and the pain that has been connected to that in this lifetime and in past lifetimes. And it will come up in the process. And this is just the beauty of courage, because it will always give you, take this up to the surface, and you will be able to transform it and release it, and step into a higher truth of who you are by doing it. So I think, yeah, I think it all sums it up a bit, actually.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I also, I just had one last thing about this, but if it doesn't, no, we can take it. If it comes in the end, then I can share it. Let's trust that it won't be out there if it's not supposed to. Yeah, it was the trust and surrender. Just the last part I wanted to ask you is, because when we start trusting, like we become it, it's basically a knowing that it's all here. So a knowing that we are just in pure service, and the knowing that the more we focus here, the more of that will come towards us. So for me, it's like a pure service to spirit, to God, to universe, whatever we believe in, but it's a pure service to the world, basically. So how can we surrender and start trusting more,
Mm,
especially when it comes to money, because it's so stressful and it's so much worries around. I
yeah.
mean, we need to cover so many costs, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And yeah, that's a really good question. I think how we can trust more is really like understanding that you are like when you're connected to your heart and when you're connected to like your soul and your truth, this is automatically calling in abundance, basically, because you're already in this energy of abundance. And when you can, yeah, connect to your heart and really connect to this energy of everything is here already, and like stay connected to that, then it automatically brings in, yeah, the proof that like you're abundant,
Mm.
like naturally, if you disconnect from everything that's going on outside and connect with like your heart and just what you're wanting to share and to create. And yeah, I do think it requires a lot of like, yeah, just like taking a breath and being like, I'm just gonna trust that this is going to work out. And then the moment you do that, you will start to see the proof in your reality that the more you just trust that things are going to work out when you surrender to your truth, um,
Mm.
yeah, then like the proof will actually give you the strength and the courage to keep moving into that direction, basically. But yeah, in the beginning, it's really about this like telling yourself or really connecting, yeah, to your heart and being
Mm.
like, hey, this like here I'm safe when I'm connected into my truth, basically, and I will be provided for when I'm doing what my soul came here to do.
Mm.
Um, yeah.
It's a plan. It's already existing in your timeline. If not, it wouldn't even be a desire that we have.
Yeah.
Um, Thank you for sharing this. And also, actually, I want to add on in the end here as well. Like, also when we can actually just get curious when we have a hard time trusting and surrendering, when we have a hard time speaking our truth and expressing our truth and create our product from there. It's shit scary. That's the reason why no one does it in the world. Come on, it's not easy, and it's really just a part of this is also like just be curious, be very curious about what is going on. Why am I feeling so unsafe? Like, what is this actually about? Like, maybe journaling, or if you're already used to meditation, you can do meditation or feeling into it, or activation music is also really good to kind of feel into the emotions. But where does it sit in my body? And what is this about? What is the stories around? Like, what do I actually need here? So get very curious when this kind of fear comes up around creating from my authentic self, and when it's very scary to surrender and trust, and when we actually just don't trust and surrender. Where am I not trusting and surrendering in myself? Where am I keep on abandoning myself? Where am I not feeling safe? What is this actually about?
Yeah.
And this is things that is like, it keeps us in the cages for lifetimes. We have it from this lifetime and past lifetime, and it's so many things that makes us so scared. Actually, at the end of the day, we're scared, we have shame, we have so many things that we don't want to be, let's say, attacked in the way we have been before, in so many ways, or by people judging us or saying things. And yeah, and also with the trust and surrender, sometimes I see it helps with the people, with the women I work with, is to actually also create a foundation. Like, when there is very hard to trust and surrender, how can I trust and surrender into my soul's purpose, into my work? Can I do something? Sometimes it's even necessary to do something practical. Like, for example, with me, I quitted my education and my full-time job, but to have them to not get like addicted to needing the money
Mm.
from like clients and these things. I just had a side job in a health shop that was aligned with, some of my interests, but then that kind of covered my basic costs,
Mm.
so that I could keep being in pure service without being in the needy energy of like, I need you to
Yeah.
survive.
Yeah.
So, and kind of like have that safe foundation can also be really helpful for you to actually be speaking and creating from your authentic self. Because if it's too stressful, we cannot be authentic.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so true. And yeah, it's an important point actually, because like you cannot be in full trust and surrender when your nervous system is saying this is not safe. Like I'm gonna be like broken on the streets because I don't have any money if I don't earn money from this business now. And I actually did the very same thing as you, like in the very beginning when I was just starting with like Akashic record readings. I had like a side job that was still flexible, that still allowed me to have like the freedom that was so important to me, and I could still travel and go everywhere, but I still had this like safety net basically that allowed me to feel safe and show like slowly start to build this business while I still knew, okay, I have enough money to eat, to live. And then at some point I could let go of that, but I had this for like a few months in the beginning until I felt safe enough to let go of it fully and just work from my business basically. Uh,
Mm,
but yeah, I think it's super important to like, yeah, as you said, ask yourself, like, how can I make myself feel more safe? And
mm,
sometimes that looks like doing something like in the meantime that maybe is not like fully aligned with what you want to end up doing, but it's like creating or it's fulfilling this like this natural need for safety in that moment so
mm,
that you can be of service and that you can just share what you're here to share and then do that more and more until yeah it just becomes like natural and you start naturally attracting more people. um,
mm.
yeah, so I
I
think it's
love
really
that.
important.
Amazing. Yes, that was a really good ending to it. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, we're gonna round up now. We've gone over an hour, so we need to end now.
Yeah.
Um, I'll also want to share and mention in the end here, I have a mini course now, that is your soul, your money soul essence, so your money soul signature, basically, a 5 days journey into your money freedom. And it's the whole journey with the energy behind money and how you can really um, step into a higher frequency and vibration around your money. And that also is about meeting your fears and your all the beliefs that you have around your money. So this is something that is linked in my Instagram bio, and it's also going to be linked in my podcast episode. And then before we end, I just want to ask you, Chiara, where can they find you?
Yeah, yeah. So I think the best way to connect with me is through Instagram. It's
Mm.
at Chiara with CH and then Nala with double A. Yeah, and there you can find me, you can find my offerings. I just did a 2-day soul awakening offering where it's free, where you can just yeah get into the energy work to like connect with your soul's essence and start activating your soul gifts, your psychic abilities, which are in the end the very things that also yeah will allow you to yeah to make money from. And yeah, you can still get that if you click the link in my bio on Instagram and yeah find.
I love that. I'm gonna share that as well. The Soul Awakening, the free 2 days journey. I'll share that in the podcast and as well as your Instagram. It's always so hard to write the name of someone like that.
It
So I'll write both of them will be also in the podcast description in the episode. Wow, thank you so much. What a beautiful journey. Thank you for joining for this hour. It's been so beautiful to dive into this topic with you and for your service and the work you're doing. Wow, so powerful. Also in the Soul Awakening, I think I saw the 2 days free journey that you have, that you also do light work, where you do light language in there. And I just, oh, it's so powerful when the few videos that I've heard around it, it's really shifts something within us. So
That's
yes, I
really
highly recommend everyone to go in and take a look.
thank you.
Yes.
Thanks for inviting me, and yeah, also
Mm,
to you for sharing your voice, your service, your work with the world.
mm,
Yeah, it's
thank
really inspiring and beautiful. So yeah, thank you
you.
for showing up.
Thank you so much. And yeah, we speak next time, whenever that will be.
Yeah.
And bye bye.
Bye.